Fax Blast. So as we have been talking about the Bill of Rights over the past couple of weeks and really breaking down what the government cannot do that they're doing, we mentioned last week the third amendment, right, which is you can't quarter soldiers in your houses. But we as I was digging into this one for the Fax Blast today, this really is linked to our right to privacy. And so I want to just read a little bit of this letter to Congress here for you guys, and then encourage everybody to go send this to Congress. Attention, Congress. The Constitution of the United States is under attack from bipartisan domestic enemies. You seem to have forgotten your oath. Consider this a reminder. Our inalienable natural rights are enshrined in the Bill of Rights, and it is your solemn duty to protect them. Your media partners keeps telling us that the U.S. Constitution does not provide for a right to privacy. This, like everything else you're doing, is a revisionist view of long-standing precedent protecting this right. The Third Amendment is the least litigated of the right of the original 10, and the Supreme Court never decided a case based upon it. But according to Professor of History at Brown University, the Third Amendment is critical, and I'm going to jump down. Some legal scholars have even begun to argue that the amendment might be applied to the government's response to terror attacks and natural disasters, and to issues involving eminent domain and the militarization of the police. So not just quartering soldiers,
right,
but having the government come in any way violating your privacy. The National Constitution Center goes on to say that the Third Amendment is linked to both the Second and the Fourth, in that the Second Amendment requires a well-regulated militia as a counterbalance to standing army, and that the Fourth Amendment has the home as a zone of privacy. And we talked a lot about that last week with the raid on President Trump. So just figuring this out, we are going to remind you, this is to Congress again, about the Fourth Amendment tomorrow, but given these expert takes on the third, we're beginning to realize why you all in the state keep trying to convince us that this right does not exist, the right to privacy, because it further limits your power. Law schools around the country teach that the U.S. Constitution contains no explicit right to privacy. Those attempting to conserve the Constitution for our future generations must make a stand on this now. That should include you as the representatives that we send to Washington to protect those rights. Our specific demand for remedy: immediately codify into law Americans' Third Amendment right to privacy, explicitly applicable to the federal government's response to terror attacks, natural disasters, pandemic response, and any and all issues involving eminent domain and the militarization of the police. So we are getting, as I've said, into all of the Bill of Rights, right? We're going to go break it down right by right and demand redress for our grievances right by right. Please go out and send this fax to your Congress today, to your legislators today.
All right, we're out of time. We have a